This was my BMW M2, my first ever sports car that I owned for exactly 849 days. And today I want to show what is the real cost of owning a car like this, since I wrote down every single thing during the 43,000 kilometers I drove using it. To start off, I bought the car on the 18th of January in 2021, with the price tag being 33,750 euros, plus VAT. Keep in mind everything I talk here will be shown without VAT, since I owned it under my company. If it wasn't under my company, everything would be just around 20% more. The almost 24,000 euro price tag also included the trailering cost, from the original country Germany to Estonia where I lived at. And it wasn't a brand new car, it was a 2018 BMW M2, so almost 3 years old. And when it arrived, it had exactly 50,988 kilometers on the clock. I remember I watched so many review videos and reading everything about it, since the M2 became kind of a dream car of mine. But what's crazy is that I hadn't driven or even seen one in real life. I bought it just from seeing it online. So you can imagine how happy I was at this moment, seeing it for the first time in real life. And that car was mine. I will never forget this amazing experience I had. The price might have been 33,750, but I leased the car, which meant I had a down payment and also a payment at the end of the lease. This is a business-only thing, so let me explain. I paid 20% down payment, so 6,850 euros, then started my 5-year lease of paying 60% of the car's value. And at the end of the lease, I have to pay the remaining 20% of the car's value. The monthly lease payment was around 400 euros per month. I didn't own it for the full duration of the lease, and I will show a bit later on how much I paid to the bank with the interest and everything added up. But okay, in the 2 years and 119 days of daily driving this car, I drove 43,468 kilometers. And the all-time average fuel consumption came to be 13 liters per 100 kilometers. For the Americans, that is 18 miles per gallon. Most importantly, the happiness per 100 kilometers was huge. And one of those happiness moments was an 8,000 kilometer road trip across Europe. One of the countries I visited was Germany, where I was able to test my M2's top speed, which came to be 265 kilometers per hour. Then I enjoyed the beautiful mountain roads in Switzerland. It was such a fun time, and I got to enjoy the M2 to the fullest. But now the amount. The all-time total I spent on fuel was 7,272 euros. But this really depends on the fuel price in your country. The next cost is maintenance. I did a total of 5 oil changes, where BMW also changed their filters and other stuff that was necessary. These came to be 1,584 euros. I also had some repairs during my ownership that wasn't covered under warranty. I will talk about warranty next, but the 2 things I had was a windscreen washer repair, I think it kinda just froze during winter, and then a front left headlight, which I had to replace. The previous owner had damaged it, and I kinda got scammed because he didn't mention it while I bought the car. So it had a crack and it had condensation on the inside. I ended up having to buy a new headlight. These 2 repairs cost me 1,263 euros. Then the warranty. Since the M2 was close to being 3 years old, the original warranty was about to end. I decided to buy 3 more years of the extended warranty, which cost me 2,824 euros. You may ask, was the extra warranty worth it? Well, here is every repair that they paid for. First, both of the rear light indicators broke during the first year, and that meant they had to replace both taillights. This was 600 euros in total. I guess I really used my indicators too much. Then the right wishbone needed to be changed. That was 262 euros. After that the radio stopped working, and the problem was the car's amplifier, which somehow broke, and it was 1,104 euros. And finally, the differential servo motor started to make noise and that got replaced, being 333 euros. So adding everything up means I actually lost 500 euros because of the extra warranty. But I would say it is still 100% worth it. It gave me a full peace of mind driving around my M2. I knew I could floor it, do launches, and just have a lot of fun without needing to worry about the huge repair cost that might come up. If I had just one huge thing broken, this warranty would have paid itself at least tenfold. Then I also bought a set of Michelin X-Ice Nord 4 winter tires. These cost me 660 euros. I daily drove the M2 and we have really snowy winters in Estonia, so there was no escape from that. But I must say, I like owning a rear-wheel drive car during the winter. And as many of you can imagine, if you have a rear-wheel driven car with high horsepower, they eat tires also in the summer. So in total for the summers I bought 2 sets of back tires and 1 set of front tires, costing me 1,241 euros. And to even get the power down, I only used the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. Highly recommend those. I didn't count every car wash I did during my ownership, but a bigger paintwork maintenance was polishing plus ceramic coating, which cost me 450 euros. This made my car more nicer and shinier. I also had full insurance on my BMW M2, which cost me around 125 euros per month. So a total of 3,500 for the whole duration of the ownership. Some may think that that is expensive, but everything was fully covered in case I would have an accident. I didn't have any, but I had this weird thing happen to my car once. The sunroof just exploded while I was calmly driving around, but this was covered fully by the insurance. The only problem was that I couldn't drive the car for 2 weeks, since I had to wait until they got the new sunroof glass. Then I also did some tuning to my M2. This includes a new active autowork downpipe with a sports cat. This cost me 1,689 euros. Quite expensive, but I sold the OEM downpipe for 320 euros. So the real cost is 1,369 euros. This new downpipe made the car sound so good that it was worth every penny. We even made a video about doing this. But I tried to go even further with the exhaust tunings, and I hired a local repair shop to make me a custom back box, which cost me 500 euros. But this was too loud, drony, and the whole car just rattled. I fixed that mistake by selling this on eBay, and I got 350 euros. I only took a 150 euro loss. Then I also added a bit more aggressive wing on the boot. This cost me only 100 euros, since it wasn't made out of real carbon. Thanks AliExpress for that. I also bought better brakes because when I went on the track, the OEM brakes went soft really quickly and I wasn't able to do more than a couple of laps. But the new brakes were BFC race brake pads and they cost me 555 euros. And those were a huge upgrade, but they also had a huge downside. After the track day, they started to squeak, and the squeak was crazy. It was like the whole city was looking at me when I drove through it. So I switched the pads back to OEM ones. And we are getting close to the end. It was time to sell my beautiful M2, because I got a small upgrade. The M2 ended up selling for 32,000 euros. Which meant I only sold it for 1,750 euros cheaper than the original purchase price. It held its value really well, but I also had an active warranty, which is really rare for almost a 5-year-old car. But the car was leased, so in that 849 days I calculated that I paid around 2,373 euros in interest to the bank. And the grand total of every single expense in my ownership with fuel came to be 25,091 euros. Divide that by 849 days and you can see my daily cost was 29.55 euros. Or divide it by the kilometers and you can see it cost me 57 cents per 1 kilometer. I really think this isn't a bad deal. I drove it daily, whenever and wherever I wanted. So now, if you want to buy your first ever sports car, maybe you know just a bit better on what to expect. And make sure to subscribe to see all the fun stuff we do with my new daily driver. Adios amigos!